My girlfriend insisted I apologize to her closest colleague for making him feel undervalued at the company picnic. I told her I would. I drove to his office after hours and said, right in front of his business partner, "I'm truly sorry. I'm sorry I never warned anyone about the embezzlement you've been hiding for the past 18 months. My girlfriend, Lauren, works in finance at a mid-sized investment firm downtown. Her closest colleague there is Ethan, a senior analyst who has been with the company longer than she has. The two of them are inseparable at work. Lunch together every day, late nights finishing reports, constant Slack messages even on weekends. Lauren speaks about him the way some people talk about a mentor who changed their life. He's brilliant, she says. He's the reason she got her last promotion. He's practically family. I've always felt like an outsider looking in. I'm Alex, a graphic designer who works from home most days. I met Lauren 3 years ago at an art gallery opening, and things moved fast. We moved in together after a year, into the condo I'd bought before we met. The lease is in my name alone, but she's on everything else: utilities, streaming accounts, even the framed photos on the walls. Ethan, though, has a standing invitation to drop by whenever he wants. Lauren gave him a spare key in case of emergencies. Though the only emergency I've ever seen is when he forgot his laptop charger and needed to borrow ours. He's polished, quick with a smile that never quite reaches his eyes, and he has a way of offering advice that sounds supportive until you realize it's laced with condescension. Lauren hangs on every word. When I once suggested we spend a weekend away without checking work email, she laughed and said Ethan would never approve of going dark during quarter end. I learned to stop suggesting things. Last year, during a team-building retreat the company flew everyone to, Ethan got drunk at the hotel bar. I tagged along because Lauren begged me to come, said it would be good for me to meet her work family. After too many whiskeys, Ethan pulled me aside on the patio, the city lights glittering below us. He started bragging quietly, proudly, about how he'd been siphoning small amounts from client expense accounts for months. Nothing big enough to trigger audits, he said. Just enough to cover his gambling debts and keep his lifestyle afloat. He laughed like it was the cleverest thing anyone had ever done. The next morning he called me in a panic, voice hoarse, begging me to forget everything. He swore it was a one-time lapse in judgment, that he'd already stopped. He made me promise not to tell Lauren, not to tell anyone. I agreed. It wasn't my company, wasn't my place to blow up lives over a drunken confession. But I took a screenshot of our text exchange the next day just in case. His message read, "Please delete last night from your memory. I was wasted and talking nonsense." My reply, "Your secret's safe, but don't put me in this position again." He answered, "Thank you. It's handled. Never happened." I saved it and tried to move on. The incident that finally pushed everything over the edge happened at the firm's annual summer picnic. It was held at a lakeside park, families invited, catered barbecue, the whole corporate bonding ritual. Ethan showed up late, as always, and immediately commandeered the conversation at our table. I made a mild comment, nothing aggressive, when he started complaining about how the junior staff were lazy and entitled. I said maybe if leadership trusted them with more responsibility instead of micromanaging, they'd step up. It was meant as a general observation, not a direct attack, but Ethan took it personally. His smile tightened, and he spent the rest of the afternoon sulking. By that evening, Lauren was furious with me. She said I'd embarrassed Ethan in front of the partners, that I'd made him feel small and disrespected. She demanded I apologize. Not a text, not a quick call. A proper, heartfelt apology that acknowledged how important he is to her career and to the team. When I hesitated, she escalated. She wanted me to do it in person at the office in front of his business partner Mia, who co-leads their division. "So everyone knows you support him," she said. "So there's no lingering tension." I looked at her for a long moment, feeling something cold settle in my chest. She thought she was teaching me a lesson about respect and maturity. She had no idea she was handing me the perfect opportunity. "Fine," I said quietly. "I'll go tomorrow after work. I'll apologize properly." Her face softened with relief and triumph. She even hugged me, told me she was proud I was choosing to be the bigger person. The next day, I left my home office early. I texted Mia separately, someone I'd met a few times at holiday parties and always liked. She was sharp, no nonsense, and had built half the firm's reputation herself. "Hey Mia, it's Alex, Lauren's boyfriend. Mind if I swing by around 6 to clear the air with Ethan about the picnic? Want to make sure everything's good." She replied quickly, "Of course." Doors open. Lauren came with me, of course. She wanted to witness the reconciliation. We arrived just as the floor was emptying out. Ethan was at his desk, sleeves rolled up, looking surprised but pleased to see us. Mia was finishing a call in the glass conference room nearby and waved us in. The four of us ended up standing near the window overlooking the city skyline, the late summer light turning everything gold. Lauren gave me an encouraging nod. Ethan folded his arms, ready to receive his due. I took a slow breath and began. "Ethan," I said, meeting his eyes, "I've been thinking a lot about what happened at the picnic, and I realize I owe you an apology. I wasn't as supportive as I should have been, and that wasn't fair to you or to the team." Lauren's shoulders relaxed. Ethan's mouth curved into a small, satisfied smile. "You've been an incredible mentor to Lauren," I continued, "and your dedication to the firm is obvious to everyone. I should have shown more appreciation for that." Mia nodded approvingly from the side. Lauren looked like she might tear up from pride that I shifted my weight, turning slightly so Mia was fully in my line of sight. "But the truth is," I said, voice steady, "my real apology isn't to you, Ethan. It's to Mia." The room went perfectly still. Mia's eyebrows lifted in confusion. Ethan's smile froze. Lauren made a small, sharp sound. "Mia," I said, looking directly at her. "I'm sorry I stayed silent for so long. I'm sorry I didn't come to you sooner about the money Ethan has been taking from client accounts." Ethan's face drained of color. Lauren whispered, "Alex, what are you?" I kept going, calm and clear. "Last year at the retreat, he told me everything. How he'd been moving small amounts to cover personal debts. How he thought no one would notice. He asked me to keep it quiet, and I did. That was wrong. I should have told someone in leadership immediately. I should have protected the firm and the clients. That silence makes me complicit, and I regret it more than I can say." Mia's expression had shifted from confusion to razor-sharp attention. She didn't interrupt. She simply waited. Ethan tried to laugh it off. "This is insane. He's making this up because I called him out at the picnic." I pulled my phone from my pocket, opened the screenshot, and held it out toward Mia. She stepped forward and looked. The messages were time-stamped, unambiguous. Ethan's own words staring back at him. Lauren grabbed my arm. "Stop this right now. You're lying. You're trying to destroy him because you're jealous of our friendship." I didn't look at her. I kept my eyes on Mia. "I have no reason to invent this. I gain nothing. But the firm deserves to know if client funds are at risk." Mia handed the phone back to me without a word. Then she turned to Ethan. "We're going to need to discuss this with HR and legal first thing tomorrow. You'll want to have representation present." Ethan opened his mouth, closed it, then tried again. "Mia, you know me. This is a misunderstanding." She raised a hand. "Tomorrow, Ethan. Go home." Lauren was crying now, angry tears, pulling at my sleeve. "How could you do this? How could you ruin everything? I gently removed her hand. I'm done protecting people who don't deserve it. We left the office in silence. In the elevator, Lauren hissed, "You're going to regret this." I didn't answer. That night, she packed an overnight bag and went to stay with a friend. I changed the smart lock code on the condo door before she came back. The fallout unfolded quickly. First came the furious texts from Lauren's work friends, accusing me of jealousy and sabotage. I replied to each with the same screenshot and a brief note. This isn't about personal feelings. It's about integrity. The messages stop.hr launched a full investigation. Within a week, Ethan was placed on unpaid leave. Forensic accounting confirmed irregularities. Nearly $180,000 diverted over 18 months. He resigned before they could fire him. Criminal charges followed shortly after. Lauren tried everything: rage, tears, bargaining. She sent long voice messages blaming me for destroying her career trajectory, since Ethan had been her biggest advocate. She claimed no one would trust her judgment now. I didn't respond. Mia reached out a week later. A simple email. "Thank you for bringing this forward. Couldn't have been easy. The firm is grateful, even if others aren't." She invited me for coffee to discuss how the team was coping. I accepted. We met at a quiet cafe near the office. She told me the partners were impressed I'd come forward despite personal cost. She also said Lauren had taken a leave of absence, citing stress. Rumors were swirling that she'd known more than she let on. Nothing proven, but enough to stall her promotion track indefinitely. A month after the confrontation, Lauren returned to the condo with a friend to collect her things. She'd lawyered up, claiming she'd contributed to the mortgage even though she'd never paid a dime. My attorney sent a formal letter outlining her lack of legal tenancy and giving her 10 days to remove her belongings. She showed up on day 9 with a moving pod, tears and accusations flying. I stood in the doorway and waited until everything was loaded. When she tried to take the espresso machine I'd bought, I quietly pointed out the receipt on my phone. She left it behind. 6 months have passed since that evening in the conference room. Ethan pleaded guilty to a reduced charge, paid restitution, and moved several states away. His reputation in the industry is finished. No reputable firm will touch him. Lauren moved back in with her sister upstate. She changed jobs, taking a lateral role at a smaller company with less prestige and lower pay. Her old network has quietly distanced itself. She sent one final email a few months ago, part apology, part plea for understanding. I read it once and didn't reply. As for me, the condo feels different now. Quieter. Mine again. I've taken on bigger freelance clients, traveled solo for the first time in years, and started climbing on weekends with a new group of friends. Mia and I kept meeting for coffee. At first, it was professional gratitude, then genuine friendship. We have an ease born of shared values: honesty, accountability, mutual respect. One evening, coffee turned into dinner, then another. We're taking it slowly. There's no rush. We both know what it feels like to be lied to by people we trusted, and we've decided that kind of deception has no place in whatever this becomes. Lauren wanted me to bow and beg forgiveness for a minor slight. She orchestrated a public display of contrition to reinforce her hierarchy. Instead, I delivered the truth she never saw coming. And in doing so, I reclaimed my life and gave others the chance to protect theirs.